Hey everyone, welcome back to Evony with Genghis. So I got a good question the other day in my Discord, and it's what percentage do you need on your buffs on defense to switch away from flats, to switch to percentages? So I came up with a percentage for myself probably about a year and a half ago that I thought worked. I'll show you how I worked through that math for you, and then you can make your own decision. The percentage might not be the same for you because you might not have the same troop composition as I do. Also, the community who loves flats, very strong. So if you're thinking about it, be prepared to be attacked in the comment section. They're going to be like, there's only 12 places you could get flats. That's it. So you got to go with flats. They're not wrong, but there's also no need for them for certain types of keeps in my belief, but that's my thought. And I may not be the majority, but it works well for me. And anyways, I'll help you through it. There's also an Aptoide Code top right above my head, COCFIGHT for Clash of Civilizations finals coming up. Anyways, it starts this weekend, same as always, Thursday to Sunday, 3 days. So let's get into this first. What we got to do is we're going to do it with archers. Why are we doing it with archers? I know most people use horse, but some people use archers for the attack part of T1 to fight off horse attacks. But the reason we're doing it with them is because when you create a brand new Keep 1 level, archers is the first one to unlock, and it takes a while to unlock the horse to get the buffs. Why do I need the buffs? Because you see these green numbers right here? You can't use those when figuring out this calculation. You have to go on to a Keep 1 and they have to be all white. That means they're not buffed because that's where you're going to be multiplying the percentages off of. The percentages don't multiply off green numbers, only off white numbers. So that's level 1. So let's look at what type of flats you can get. That's the first thing you need to know here. So let's go look at, I have Electra, there you are. And she has an Ares bow, and you could see if I was to refine it, I used to use her to attack against T1s with all flats. It no longer is very successful, but I'm not going to change the refines because I don't need the weapon. Anyways, 634 is the highest you can get on Ares. It's the exact same on Civilization gear. You can see another one here, flats, 634. They never increased it. People thought it would just be too big of a game changer if they increased those flat numbers. So maybe it would be. So they never did. So 634 is our number here. And now what we got to do, 130, we'll use archer attack for this, but you could do your own simulation figuring this out on horse HP, and it'll work out the exact same. So horse HP will have a number here, like let's pretend it's 1,000, but the flat refines you're going to be able to get are going to be higher. They're going to be like 3,000. They're going to be the exact same percentage though, 130 into 634. So let's get into a calculator here, and 634 times 12, right? Because there's 4 dragon slots and 8 gear slots. 7,600, that's the max you can get, but you're not going to get that. No one's going to roll 634. So let's just go with 525. I think that's pretty fair. Let's pretend you get an average of that 12 times. 6,300 plus 130 for the base attack. So that's what you're looking at. 6,430 is what this green number would be. And if you go back into my archer here, my T1, it's lower than 634. So right there, we know it's a good start. It's at 1,084. But I have no flats. But, it doesn't also take into account certain buffs. What those numbers take into account are things that you have in the academy or universal buffs, such as in Civ cards or Senate, that sort of stuff. So how are we going to figure this out? So 6,430 is the magic number. What we can do is we can look at 130. That's the number. So if we were to multiply it by 2, we'd now have 260. What's 2? 2 represents 100% of buffs. Okay, so if we were to go 130 times 50, that'd be times 5,000. So we're at 6,500. So 5,000 buffs is equal to 12 flats. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Now there's more to it than that, because that can be debuffed down to basically 3,300, right? 6,500, subtract the 130 for the base and cut it in half. So we can't use this. This isn't fair. So we got to get this number up to much higher. So let's just say we're going to get it up to, let's say, 9,000 buffs divided by 2, 5,850. We're pretty close. So let's just say that 9,500% buff is about what you need to be equal to the flats if you had no other troops. That's the key, right? So if we go look at our buffs here, this is a T10, 1920. Now, 1920 plus 6,400 for the flats, that's only going to bring it up to about 8,500. And if we do the math here, 1920 20 times, let's just say 8, and divide that by 2, we're at 7,500. Subtract the base, we're at about 6,000 stats. So we're pretty close to where we need to be. So what you need to figure out for when you need to decide when you're going to switch to percentages is, and this is a T13, 3,400. How many higher troops do you have? That's the key, and what your buffs are, to figure out when you should vacate those flats. If it was as simple as just flats versus percentages for my T1s, then we figured it out. About 9,500% buffs is what you need. But what we can also figure out is, if we look at this, 3,450, I only have to multiply that by 4. And now I'm at 13,800. Subtract the 3,450. I'm much higher than what flats would give me, because flats would only give me 6,000, right? So I'd be at 9,500. So I only need 400% buffs at the T13 level to be much higher. And if we're going to get really crazy here, let's go back to that number, 3,450 times, let's pretend that you have 4,000 buffs. That's not obscene to have. I have that. Lots of people have that. I'm at 138,000. Even if that gets debuffed in half, 69,000. So if I was to do 69,000 times 20 million troops, which is what I have, I'm going to get a lot of attack in here. And let's just go times, sure, let's see if we could even type it in. 20 million. We get 1.38 to the exponent 15. And if we're going to go into 60, let's say 6,500 for our T1 archer attack times 2 billion. So that's 2 billion. You get 1.3 to the exponent 13. So we're getting very similar numbers. So you can see, as you get larger troops, you need less of them to make it worth it to make the change to percentages. And there's another factor that you have to think about. So obviously, if you have 20 million T13s, 20 million T14s, 20 million T15s, that's, every layer you go up, you need less and less of them for the percentage to mean more to them than it does to the T1s. The percentage that I used is 3,200. Right around there, right around 3,200% was where I felt on my horse HP that I'd be better off going with percentages. And what I did, or let me rephrase that, I'd be better off going with no horse refines, because my base percentages are over 3,000. So that way I could put my gear refines all on siege. So my wall general, I went entirely refines on siege. So you can see all siege, siege everywhere. And that's because my base is still over 3,200 for horse HP. So I don't need this. And there's no point in me doing this. I'm better off protecting my siege that I have up above. Now, what you need to think about is, do you have a different troop type, probably going to be siege, that you have enough of them that it's worth it to protect them with higher HP and defense buffs? If the answer is yes, you can move off of horse HP once you're over 3,000. Now, there's one other factor to keep in mind. How many horse do you have up top? Do you even need to protect them? If you're not the main rally runner for horse in your alliance, you aren't going to have that many horse. So I have, actually it'll be easier to see in here in the stables. So I have 9 million. We're at 30 million, 40 million, 50 million, 60 million. At what point do I really need horse refines to protect those up top? So it wouldn't have made sense for me to switch to horse percentages on the wall. So I would never recommend that. I'm only going to recommend that if you have a base percentage on defense. So let me pull up, let's see where I got a defense here. I think someone attacked me in SBS. Yeah, here, there's one of those joke attacks. So this is with, so you can see I have 3,200 horse HP, and that's not being in a defensive mindset on the wall. I was just playing. The buffs aren't on. So mine are high enough that I feel they protect those horses. Plus, I feel having that extra siege stuff will protect all of my siege up top. So base 3,200 horse HP, I think you're fine to leave the flats on the wall. Some people may not agree with that, but what I will agree, or what they'll probably agree with me also, is it depends on your troop composition. Everybody's different. No keep is the same. So I really shouldn't be recommending to you what to do. I'm just telling you how I came up with the math to figure out at what point did it make sense to change over to percentage. You have to keep in mind that percentage can be debuffed and flat cannot. So always subtract half when you're doing that math. And hey, if there's someone really excited out there, make an Excel spreadsheet for us out there and have it where you could input how many troops you have at a certain tier, and then that will come up into a column of it provides that much HP to the city. And then the next tier, I have 10 million. Multiply by the percentage I have or the flats, it provides that much HP, and go all the way down. And then someone could actually figure out the perfect numbers that you could use to build a keep like that. I eyeball things, and I think I just have a generally good idea. Anyways, let me know what you guys think on that, and like, subscribe, leave a comment.